Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can
Okay,
see
I
it.
think Jude is here.
Yes.
Welcome, Jude.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah,
Good
Good afternoon.
yeah. So we're going to be starting with the Power BI. So what we'll be doing today is basically data cleaning. If you recall our first class, data cleaning is one of like you'll be spending 70 to 80% of your time doing data work because you don't want to come out with bad analysis. If your data is bad, there's high chance that your analysis should be bad. So we'll be doing much of data cleaning today. However, before we go into that, I just want to show you the different parts in Power BI. So there is what we call the Power BI report. So that is the interface you can see now. Immediately you open your application, this is the first thing that you see. So this is the Power BI reports where you build your visuals, add a lot of images, text, and everything. So it just for visuals. Can you see the writings I'm putting on my screen?
Yes.
Oh, great. So the second one is the Power BI Query Editor, QE. So this is basically for transformation. If you want to transform your data, where you do some cleaning work and all that. Like I said, most of the time you may be doing it in this if your data is not well clean. So the third one is the Power BI service. So this is where you share and collaborate your work in Power BI. Maybe after you have finished building your report, or first, when you start with cleaning your data, the next is building your report. So after building your report, if you have a team in your organization, you want to share your report. But sometimes if you are just a particular data analyst, you want to probably export it in PDF, or you might just, what you normally do is just to snipe it, and put it inside PowerPoint presentation. But Power BI service is when you actually share your work, or you can actually create your dashboard also in Power BI service. And this is where Microsoft get their money from. So if you want to do a lot of stuff in Power BI service, you need to have a core account to actually do a lot of stuff. I think it's like $12 per month or so. But like I said, depending on the organization that you're working for or you're working with. So it's good that, okay, you know one or two things about it. But if you're not working in a big organization, I mean, with Power BI desktop, you are good. So there's another one, Power BI mobile. So this is basically for you to just optimize your reports in a mobile view. So that, the stakeholders or whoever it is might want to just actually see the report as soon as possible. So you can actually do that in a mobile, edition. So there's also the Power BI Gateway. So I think I've used this once, and I think it's been long. So this is just basically the connection of different sources of data to your Power BI desktop, right? So you may not actually be doing this now. Maybe after so many years of experience, you can be doing Power BI Gateway. It's also extremely important, just like the name Gateway, like a gateway where you pass in two or more, different sources together. So those are the major parts that you'll see in Power BI. So before you can do anything in Power BI, you need to first bring in data into the Power BI. So to do that, you come to this ribbon also here. So just like Excel, it also has its own ribbon. So these are the ribbon. So you can always get a lot of things done here. So I click on this get data. So immediately I do that, I'll click on so these are all the different data sources from Power BI, and there are many. These are the main used ones. So if you click on more, you get other different data sources that you can connect with your Power BI to those data sources you want to video, but it usually take long. Okay, this is it. So we can have all these, many data sources to, get your data from. So depending on where your data source is, you can actually click none of them. So you can get, our data from different data sources. Please, if you have any question, you can raise it so that before I move further. So there's high chance that your data sets, your data source will be in Excel workbook, or maybe text or CSV, or even PDF. So what we'll be using mostly is Excel workbook. but it's still the same thing, irrespective of whichever you choose. Insofar the data is in a table, and you can always go and clean it in the Power BI, query editor. Don't forget, Power BI report is when you build your report. Power BI query editor is when you clean and transform your data. Power BI service is when you share and collaborate your data and also build dashboard. Power BI mobile is just optimizing your reports for mobile view. Then Power BI gateway is just a connection to different data sources. So you can even get your data set from online. So let's say you want to get that data from online now. I click on I click on order. So these are just ERPs and CRMs. You can have it in, you can have your data in any of these data sources and see something. So I click on order now. So I click on web. Because most of the time you also be getting some table or some data from the web. So I click on web, I click on connect here. So immediately I do that, it will open a dialog box for me that will show where I will input my URL. Yes, as you can see that. So now I don't have a URL for now. Let me just go to Google and see and get a URL of a data that we can use. So I will I will go to here. So let's say, okay, I'm looking at population by state. I just want to get a URL so that you can see how you can get population by countries. So these are different websites that I can get the population by country. So, but I'm interested in the Wikipedia. I want to look at Wikipedia data set. Okay, this is Wikipedia. So I have this particular, website. Okay, this is the website. So you can see I have a lot of tables here. So I may want to use any of these tables for my analysis. So let me click my URL. So just click on this address bar. Then I'm doing a Control-C now. So I will go back to my Power BI. Then I'll paste that thing I copied to this address bar, or to this bar rather. So you can see. So I'll click on OK. So it will create a connection between Power BI and that website. As you can see, please wait while we establish connection to the web again. So depending on the content of that website, it might take some time. Yeah, so this is the preview of all the tables inside that particular website. So it could be any website. You just click the URL and come and paste it. However, you are selecting from online or web. So these are the data sets. So you get, yeah.
Quick question, please. You selected others and you have online. What's the difference between the online and the others?
So online now for your Microsoft ERP data warehouse. Okay. Like you have your Azure, Azure is like cloud, whatever, that you can always bring data from them. So others is just like for the web, Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, they reside online.
Okay.
So these are the different tables here. So we can select the one that, so these are the tables from that Wikipedia website. These are all the tables. So you can now select the one that you are interested in. So I think this is the one that will, so anyone that you're interested in, you can now pick them. So okay, I think this is one that we are interested in. I'm not sure. So the point is that it will give you all the tables inside that particular website. So you can now select any one of them. Okay, I think this is it. So this is it. So you can now click on this particular square by the side to show that this is the data that you want to use. If you do not click on it, it will not enable these guys load and transform. So you have to click on it. So then now if you want to take the data straight to Power BI reports where you just build your visuals, you click on this load. However, if you want to take it to your query editor where you need some extra cleaning work, that's when you click on transform data. You understand? So let's click on transform data. So instead of taking it down here, it will open another page as it is happening now. Then it will bring it to this Power Query editor. As you can see here, so you have your Power Query editor here. So if I click on the other guys now, you can see that we now have 2 pages. So these are Power BI, Power BI desktop, where you build your reports. Okay, so that's how you ingest data from a web to your Power BI query. So you cannot start cleaning this information. Now this is supposed to be whatever it is that's supposed to be, then you cannot clean anything. So once you are done with everything that you are doing here, let's assume then you cannot come here and do a close and apply, right? So we are not going to use that. I'm just showing you how you can import data from the web, which is extremely important. So, however, the data set that we're interested in to do this cleaning is a Titanic data set. I'm sure most of us have heard of Titanic before. Mensa, have you heard of Titanic before? When they mention Titanic, what first comes to your mind?
That the information is quite big, or as in the data set is quite big.
No. I'm talking about not even data related now.
Oh, Titanic.
Yes.
The largest. It's a very large ship that got sunk.
Yeah. So what about Jude?
Titanic.
Yes.
The first thing in my mind is the movie.
The movie, wow. Yeah, that's actually going to be first in my mind too. Madam, you have heard of Titanic before, right?
Same thing, the movie.
The movie. So we are going to be using Titanic data set for our data claim. You guys are correct. So I think Titanic was a particular ship that it was built with the hope that it's never going to sink. So, but for whatever reason, that ship sank, and they used it to make a movie and some love story and blah blah blah. So now these are the information from that Titanic data. Can you also see my Excel sheet spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah. So these are the information from that Titanic ship. So these are the people that onboarded that ship, and these are their respective information. So if I do a Control-Shift down, I will see the total number of people on board that ship, which is 891. All right. So this is the passenger ID. So passenger ID means everyone has to have a unique identity, unique ID. So this is a P class. That is a passenger class. It's just like, okay, first class, second class, third class, kind of a thing. So I think 3 is like third class, 1 first class, blah, blah, blah. So this is the name of the passenger inside that ship. Their sex, the age of the passenger, the CSP, I will explain that later. Patch, I will explain that. Tickets that they use, the fare, the amount they paid, the cabin that they are in, the embark, where they join the ship from. And this survive, that means, okay, I will explain that. So these are just the different columns inside this particular data set. So this second sheet is the metadata. So metadata is like information about a particular data or data about a particular data. Or we also call it data dictionary. It gives us more explanation, as you can see here, more explanation of the columns. So these are the columns. These are the columns. This is the data type. So data types are very important. You need to take note of that. So these are the values inside each of the column. So this is a more explanation about the column. So the first one is a passenger ID, old number 1 to 891. So that's a unique integer passenger ID. So, and the truth of the matter is that let me quickly shift this in. So whenever you're doing any data work, you want to have a unique identifier for every entries or rows of data that you have. So this one is the survived column, is an old number data type. So there are 2 values inside there, 0 and 1. 0 means that the passenger died, while 1 means that the passenger survived. So this is P class, passenger class 1, 2, 3. First class, second class, third class. So this is the name. So the text data type, that's any kind of text. Then this is in format. So the sex is a text, male and female. Then the explanation is gender. The age, that is less than 100. That means nobody in that ship that is above 100 years of age. So SIB-SP means the number of siblings, either brother or sister, and spouse in the party traveling with the passenger, but excluding the passenger. You know, there are some family inside the ship, so they go with their brother, sister, or whatever. So their number, that's what this particular column is talking about. And the part is parents and children. Number of parents, children traveling with the passenger, but excluding the passenger. The text is a text, that is any. The fare is greater than 100, that is the amount. The cabin also is any. Why the embark is, okay, the point of embarkation. So Southampton, S means Southampton, Q means Queenstown, and C means Cherbourg. So apparently, the data collection guys, would not, type everything in full, the name of the city. So that's why they just use their first initials. So are you clear about these data sets and the explanation before we proceed? Anybody has a question?
Yes.
Anybody? Okay, so it's just kind of straightforward. So now this is because it's good that you understand the data sets, the column, before moving it into your Power BI. At least understand the column, what it's all about. Yeah, even if you can't get all the information yet, but understand the column first. Then, so now we're heading back to our Power BI. So I come here. So these are like the main, the main data sources. That's why they put them up here. So we come here. So I don't need to come to get it again. I can just click on this Excel workbook because my file is in Excel. So I will come to this Excel workbook. Then you need to come and locate your data sets in your directory, local laptop. So I have my Titanic data here. So I'll just click on load. I'll click it. So depending on the size of the data, it takes long. So these are the two sheets inside, that my Titanic data. So if I select comment, see the comment I explained to you not long, passenger. So this is the information about the passenger. So this is the data that we are looking at. So don't forget that you must click on this square side by it so that you can do a load and transform, activities. So let's click on load. The first one we can transform. So let's click on load for this, even though we are still going to transform it. So once I click on load, it creates a connection. So what this thing do is that it's creating it's not moving the data from the data source. It's just kind of creating a connection, like it's having a replica of that same data that you have in your data source, either from Excel or online or whatever. I'm creating a replica of that data in Power BI. It's not moving it. So by implication, if things in that your data source is changing, then if you refresh here in Power BI, it also changes. So let's have that quick. So this is the, so every data that you ingested into Power BI, they will come in this, by your right-hand side. So we call it the data pane or the feed pane, right? So this is the new data that we have. So if we click down here, so we see that these are the columns here. So these are the columns for the other first one that we did, but we might not be using this guy. Okay, so now let me quickly explain. So this section now is the data or feed section where you have all your columns. The data set and your column will be here. So this is the visualization section. So all kind of visualization that you can use to bring out the insight and information are here. There are still more than this. You click on this, you get more. But these are the main one. And visualization, I mean, it's a class on its own because you need to understand some visual before you can use them. A lot of people make mistakes, they mix visual up while they are analyzing their data. But we'll get to there. So we call this the value section or the feed well. This is where you'll be dropping your columns depending on the kind of analysis that you want to do. So this is the Canva. So where all your reports will be dropping, you can see select or drag feeds. These are your feeds from the data pane. This is data pane into the report Canva. So this is your report Canva. So this is where you'll be having a lot of your reports inside this place. So you can have as many pages as possible. I can click on more pages. So two or more pages are your reports, or even one is your report. So a particular visual, however, you call it tile. Some people also call it visual, right? So So this is your filter section. So we have different kind of filter, like filter on the visual, filter on the page, and filter on all pages. So let me just quickly build one visual so that you can know the reason why we need to go and do data cleaning. So now the first thing that first comes to my mind is that I want to know the passengers, number of passengers that died and the number of passengers that survived, you know, in that ship, Titanic ship. So I'm going to come to my data pane here. Then I will select the passenger ID, which are unique identifier for all the passengers. I will select it. Then I will select the survived column, which has the information about my survived and died, you know, passengers. So once I do that, so you can see automatically Power BI kind of, you know, creates a visual for you based on what it feels that is the best visual. Then you can maybe later you can change it to the visual that you don't like. So now this is what it brings to me, which is a good visual, but it's not a good analysis. Let me click on this focus mode so I can see better. So look at it now. So passenger is 891. So it's only giving us the number of people that survived. What about the number of people that died? So what is happening here is that Power BI is only doing a sum operation, and it's only summing those values that have 1. The other one that have 0 is not summing them, because you cannot perform, you know, an arithmetic operation with 0. 0 in 1 million times is still 0, right? So it's not going to sum it up. So it's only going to sum just the numbers that it can perform arithmetic operation, which are the 1, and they are just 3, you know, 342. So what about the one that died? So that's why we need to do a transformation. And we also need to change, you know, that data type from being, you know, an integer to a text or a string. So that we can say that, okay, this is the died and this is the survived. So as you can see, anything that is in this place, if you can see this, the columns here, I've forgotten what they call this sign. It's an arithmetic sign. It's showing that, okay, this data is numbers. So we need to find a way to change this particular column, survive, from being an integer to a string, so that we can have died and survived. Then we can do a count operation. So this is one of the reasons why we need to do a transformation, because we cannot sum zeros. And if you can't do that, or count zeros, which are people that died, and if you can't do that, we won't know the number of people that died. So that is one. Another reason is that, okay, I want to look at the passenger that are in different passenger class. So if I do what I did earlier, so I'm selecting my passenger ID. So instead of selecting survive, I'm going to select my passenger class, P class. So this is just to corroborate what I did earlier. So if I do a focus mode, you can see that it's only summing the 1, 2, and 3. The whole passenger in that ship is even 891, but we're having, you know, 2057. So it's summing all the numbers there. So if you don't transform this data, we cannot know the number of people that are in first class, second class, and third class. So based on all these things and some other ones, we are going to be adding to our Power Query editor. So you can actually go to your Power Query editor from your Power BI desktop by clicking on Transform Data here. So once you click on Transform Data, you see another one. You have 2 options here: Transform Data and Transform and Data Source Settings. However, before we go there, let me just quickly show you, you know, some little settings you can do to your, you know, this thing. So you can actually select, once you unselect any of the visual. This is a visual, and this is also a visual. So you can come to format or report page to, you know, select what you want to do. So if you want to have a bigger Canva, you just go to Canva setting. Then by default it is 16:9. So you can always change it to custom, or you can put this guy, anyone that you want. So sometimes if I want to have a large, you know, visuals, I always click on custom. Then I will do 1002 by 1500. So there'll be times that you want to do that. You can see to enlarge by itself. The one that you want to do that. So you can have it like this and start building a visual. But I think for this class, you can just maintain the default, which is 16:9. right? So you can also do a canvas background. I always prefer white background, but you can change it if you don't like it. So you can always come to canvas background, so you can change it to something like this. So maybe you change the color, you need to reduce the transparency so that it can be in effect. So you can have something like this, depending on how you want it to look like, you understand? So, but let's leave it in white. You can change it if you want. You can also have the wallpaper, even images. You can get images of maybe your, and I've seen people do this a lot. It's nice, right? These are preferences. So you may prefer white color and you may prefer images. And I've used images before, they are very nice. So that's how you can create your format the background of your Canva. Then let's go to transforming the data. So I'm going to click on transform. From transform, I'll click on transform data again. So it will take me to the Power Query editor. So this is my Power Query editor. So this is the 4 data we take from the web. So we don't need this. I'm going to click on this. So everything that you put here from the Power BI report to Power Query editor, it should be counted as queries. So you can have as many queries as possible inside here. So now, these are what we need to do to clean our data. However, before you start cleaning your data, are you guys with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. So before you start cleaning your data, there's something that is very, very important, extremely important. And you likely come across this in most of Microsoft Power BI data analysis examination, and even in some in-service also. Right, so most of the Power BI exam I've done, I always come across them. So, and it's also good for data quality or quality test. So by default, they don't normally put it there, but you need to find a way to do it. So you want to. So what if you're having large amounts of data and you don't know how the distribution look like? Or what are the missing value, if there are null values, there are empty values, and all. So you can't be scrolling from the data set one after the other, each of the column, or scrolling down. No, it's going to take a lot of time. So that's why you need to use this particular function called view. So from the ribbon here, you select view. So this, guys, column quality, column distribution, and column profile, they are extremely important. And I want you to take note of them, also for your work and also for examinations, right? So these two are not very important, just monospace and something. So we are not going to be getting worked up on. So we are going to start with column quality first. So if I click column quality, so you see what happens to the data. So column quality helps us to know the valid, error, and empty values in each of the columns in our data sets. So even though if you have like 100 or 1,000 columns, so everything to bring out, the values, errors, and empty in your data set. So you can now know that, okay, because in some work, there's a level of empty or non-values that can be permitted. In some analysis, if you're having null values that are even as small as 5%, that's a problem. You need to find a way to fix it, right? So look at this particular column. Everything is 100%, which is good. P-class, there's everything there. Name, expected. So sex, it's fine. So but look at age now. Age has a valid 80% record, but a stunning 20%. So this is a source of worry, right? So that 20% is like 177 passengers. So that means 177 passengers either do not fill their age information, or maybe the data collector guys did not do anything about it, right? So we need to find a way to fill these empty values in the age column, because it's also an important variable. If it's not an important variable, you might want to ignore it or even delete it. But an important variable, you want to ensure that you have empty or error to the barest minimum, or not have anything at all. So look at the CSP, everything is 100%. So the patch, 100, ticket, fare. So look at the cabin also again. So look at cabin, we have a whopping 77% empty. So although cabin is not a very important variable for us, but we can still find a way to clean it up, right? So, but it's just showing that this is a great concern and you need to find something to clear the empty cells, right? So that's what a column quality should. Column quality show the valid, error, and empty values in each column in our data set. Please note that. Then the second one is the column distribution. So look at what column distribution is doing now. It's showing us two things, the distance and the unique value in our columns. You can see now. So look at this P class now. So we have 3 distinct and 0 unique. And in the past, I've missed a lot of things by not getting this concept very well. So distinct values are those values that appears more than once in your column. While the unique value are the values that appears only once. That's the definition I was able to coin for it. So they look very close. I mean, people mix them up for each other or they use them interchangeably, but they are different things. So in some cases, you'll be seeing them, look at this now, 81, 891, 891, but they are different things. So you can see now, there's 3 here, there's 3 here, there's 3 here. So that qualifies to be a distance. One distance, there's 1 here, there's 1 here, there's 1 here. That is a distance. Look at 2 here, and there's another 2 again here. So that means there are 3 values here that are distinct, and there are 0 unique because none of them appears just once. You can see. So look at this particular column now. So 2 distinct, of course, is either a male or a female. There's no one that appears only once. So there's no unique value there. So same thing with all these guys, age, a lot of them. So it's just showing you, column distribution show you distinct and unique value. So the last one is the column profile. So this is more holistic in nature. Is it has more information, right? So it even combines the column profile, the column distribution and column quality together. So you can see now it's even show you, the distribution of the values inside the particular column. If I click on P class now, it's showing me that, okay, even from this, we can even know that people that are in third class are the highest, followed by people in first class, followed by people in second class. So it also gives us other statistics. Okay, let me select age column now. You look at age column now. So it gives us more statistics here, which is the count is 891. There's no error. The empty is 177. The distance is 89. Unique 16. Blah 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 like that. So look at this now. It's giving you the minimum and maximum value. So the minimum age in that ship is like, I think apparently there's a 4-month-old baby inside the ship, and the highest person, the oldest person inside that ship is 80 years of age. So this is the average age inside that ship, and this is the standard deviation, right? So this is the distribution. Apparently, people that are 24 years of age are many inside that ship. Like, they are the highest, followed by people that are 22 years of age, and there are like 27 of them, constituting 3%. So now, based on this average, which is 29.6 now, we can say approximately 30. So we can now use the average to replace our null values in this age column. You can see this is one of them, null value, and we have like maybe 177 of them. So we can now, so for us to change this now, so I'm going to click on the null. I will now click, then I'll see replace values. So I'm going to click on replace values. Then to open a dialog box for me. Then, so what I'm telling you that anywhere you see null, please put 30 there. So I'm going to click on OK. So automatically everything changed from being a null to 30. So we don't have any null values for our age. We have successfully replaced that, right? So
No, sir, can you do that again for me, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so you recall that I mentioned that this is what column profile does. So this is my age. So now, thank God, so anything that we are doing here, we can always come back to these applied steps. So everything is always recording here. So I can just come here and remove what I did now. So we see have our null here now. And remember that in our column profile, the average, we're able to get the average age, which is 29.6. That is approximately 30, right? So before I check this now, if I click on this filter, you see that we have null values, which is like 177 of them, right? So I will not click on one of these null values. Then I will right click. Then you see replace values. And I'll click on replace values. Yes, so it will open a box for us. Then, because I'll click on null, this will be automatic. Then I'll say replace with 30. I'll just type 30, then I'll click on OK. So you can see 19 place for me. So anywhere there is null, so we now have 30. Is that clear?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thanks. So that's how we take care of that. So we have started data cleaning. So the one that we want to do basically from that Power BI report is the survive died of a thing. So I'm going to click on this particular column. So now what we need to do is to add a new column that will show us that, okay, when there's a particular value is 0, it should be that the person died. Why if the value is 1, that means this person survived. That's the only way we can actually transform this data so that we can know the number of people that died and the number of people that survived. So I've clicked on this particular column. So I'm going to go to the ribbon here. I will select add column. So now, in fact, we're going to do a lot of virtually every of this add column function. So the first one we want to do is to click on the one that can solve our problem effectively is a conditional column from the add column. So I'm going to click on conditional column. So before I even click on it, by highlighting it, it shows, look at what it's saying, create a new column that conditionally add values in the correctly selected column, right? So it's just like our if function in Excel, but this is way more dynamic and you don't even need to write a lot of formulas before you can get stuff done. So I'm going to click on this conditional column. So immediately I click on it, so it brings open up a box for me now. So I'm going to tell it, okay, the first thing I want to do is to rename that new column, which is, you can give it any name that you like, but I just want to give it survived died column. So now, this is the condition now. So what this column is telling us that if certain condition is this, let me add this output. If certain condition is this, let me add this output. So you don't need to write formulas here. So that's why, Power BI is much more easier, effective as against Excel that you need to write a lot of columns. So I'm going to say if my survived column, which is the one I want to transform, the column I want to transform is survived column, is equals to, now I have a lot of operator, depending on the kind of work that you want to use, the kind of problem you want to solve. It could be does not equals to, greater than equals to, less than, blah, blah, blah. So the problem we want to solve is if survived column is equal to, now, what are the values that we have inside that particular column? If you remember when I showed you in the Excel.
You have 0 and 1.
Yes, we have 0 and 1. So if the survived column is equals to 0, what should happen? What is the output?
Survived.
That means the person or the passenger died. So we're going to type died here. However,
okay.
you have a question?
Yeah, I just discovered that. Says I initially thought if the survived is equal to 0, it means the person survived. But then, yeah, I just got it.
So what? I didn't get it.
I said initially I thought if survived equals 0, it should be survived. I thought like 0 represents survived and 1 represented
Okay. It's actually meaning that if you see from this Excel file, you can see that if I take it to the comments, you can see that 0 means died, while 1 means survived. So are we clear?
Yes, please, clear.
Okay, thank you. So if survived column is equal to 0, that means the person died. Add clause, as if our column is survived, equals to 1, that means the person was survived.
Right.
So if you have any other values, you just keep adding your clause. So now, this is like one of the simplest things that a conditional column does. It does a whole lot of complex stuff. So for instance, now these are the grading system in our schools. So if someone score from 0 to 39, that means the person have an F or a fail. From 40 to 45, give the person a D. From 50 to 59, that's C. You can also use conditional column to also do that. Or your customers, if this customer buys from this amount and above, that means it's a top customer. If he buys from this volume to this volume, that means, well, you can say it's a priority customer. If you buy from this volume to this volume, maybe you can say, okay, let's a loyal customer or whatever. So that's how you can do some kind of categorization, segmentation, and you use this a lot because I use it a lot. Not require any formatting at all. However, what you only have here is just two values. That's why we're going to be stopping here. But if you have more values and you want to transform them or create an output, then you can add as many clauses as possible, right? And the truth of the thing is that it takes the first argument first. So it goes into here, loop it. If you can't find any other value again, then it go into the second clause. Run the value. If it's satisfied, then it go into the third one. So that's how it works. So you first respect the first one that you feed it. If it doesn't get another thing from there, if you have done the processing, go to the second one. So you want to be careful with the hierarchy of these clauses, right? So the first one are always respected, followed by the second one, followed by the last one, and all. And you can always move them up if you feel that, okay, this is supposed to be the first condition. You can do something like this. But in our own case, we only are interested in just two values, but that's the only two values that we have. Like I said, again, you can do this conditional column to do a whole lot of stuff. Maybe you want to segment customer by whatever it is, you want to partition people, you want to group people, you can use conditional column to do that. So we don't need this together. You can always come here and delete. You can always come here and delete. So let's say we have another value here that is like 2, and maybe it's critical condition. So we just write critical condition and it will just put it that way. But we don't have that kind of value inside that column. So I'm going to delete it. So we are always set with these two. So I'm going to click on OK. So you can see now we have created a new column, which is the survived dead column. Right. So that means, look at this now. This is 0. That means the person died, 1 survived. That's how you have everything till the last row. And we have like 891. So that is what conditional column does. Please, if you have any question, let me know, because this is a very important thing to know how to do. You will use it a lot to transform data. So we cannot have our survived here. So we cannot get rid of this if you don't need it, because we already have something better. So we cannot analyze our data by survived and died and do a count operation. Is this clear? So I can proceed.
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'm impressed. So don't forget, like I said, you can use to do a lot of stuff different from this basic thing. So the next one I want to do is let's take one after the, is the index column. So this index column is just you creating some kind of ID. I didn't mean they do not provide us with this passenger ID. That is what we will have used. And like I said, it's a good practice. Whatever you are doing in data, you want to index every of your rows. And I think the person that created this data understand the importance of this. But in some instances, there might not be anything like that. So you want to index every of your row. So if we don't have this particular column provided for us, the best thing that we'll have done is to just come to this index column and create a new column with an index starting at 0. You can say you want to start your own at 1. So from 0, from 1, if I click on from 1, I will have the same thing as passenger ID. You can see now. You just create an index for us from the first, start from 1 to the last, row, which is 891. So, however, but we already have this. So it's the same thing. So that's how you create index. So that's one. So you can also create index from custom. You can do a custom creation of index. So you maybe want to start from, let's say, 5 or whatever, then you can do an increment, or you want to do an increment of 5. So you want to do 5, 10, 15, 20. I have seen people do this a lot. So you can just click on 5 here. So you click on OK. So that's how you get this. This is an index, 5, 10, 15, blah, 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 to the rest. So that's how you do indexing. So you can also duplicate column. And I use this a lot. If I want to get some calculation for a particular column and I don't want to tamper that column, so I just create a duplicate of that column. So I can create a duplicate of this one now. So they give me a copy. So I can now go and do any mathematical or arithmetic operation inside that one. So I don't have to worry myself with this. I can use this. So I can now come to standard. So this standard is what you used to do a lot of calculation. And then a lot of calculation that you can do with this. So I can click on this guy. I can say, okay, maybe you want to add discounts to some sales volume, or you want to multiply some information by whatever number, you want to subtract some numbers from your main, so you just use any of this. Let's say we want to, someone gave us a discount now, or you want to just multiply some particular information with this. So let's say you want to multiply everything by 10 here, just click on multiply. So by what value? Let's say by 10, then click on OK. So everything multiply. This is multiplication. So you can have your data. So you can do a lot of, so you can do subtract, you can do divide, you can do integer. So to perform arithmetic operation on all the columns without you doing any formula or anything. So there's a formula running at the background, but you don't need to worry yourself. So this is everything that is running on the background. Whatever we are doing, you can see. So it's happening here. So that's how you do, that's what duplicate column is. So you can duplicate column and use it to do whatever you want to do. So there's also the column from example. So now this what this column from example does is that it creates a new Hello, are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So what this column does is that it creates a new column based on an example. So I'll just quickly run you through all these things. They are very important also. So let's say, for instance, now we have this P class. Like I told you earlier, if we did not convert or transform this P class to, we cannot get the number of people that are in so class, because they are numbers, they are integers. So we need to change them to a text. So we cannot use this to do that. So column from example, I click on column from selection. I've already selected this column. So it will bring me this new column here. So I will click on this now. So what I'm telling you that just like there's something they call flash fill in Excel. Everybody have used flash fill in Excel. I'm sure maybe June might have used flash fill before. It's similar to flash fill. It does that it's more advanced a little. So what I'm telling him to do is that whenever you see this 3, put third class. So I'm going to write third class there. I'll just double click on this. So I will start typing third class. So I'll come to the second one. Whenever you see 1, just put first class. So I'll double click on this. I'll put first class. So whenever you see 2, look at what will happen now. It will flash feed them based on what I put there. Whenever you see 2, so you can see it's already flashing. So if you can't identify any new number that we told him to do, to put none, but we can't have it as none. So I'm going to put second class. So I'm going to click on OK. So everything will flash feed from A to Z. So there you go. So that's how you fix things. So even if you have 1 million, rows of data, everything will be, filled with the information that you have put. So this is the formula on the background, running at the background. So in some other stuff, programming language, this is what you'll be writing, maybe in Python or R. These are the formulas that you'll be writing, but you don't need to worry about that. So you just know what you want to do. Then Power BI engine will write the formulas for you. So let's go to so the next one is the custom column. So what custom column does a lot of things. It just kind of merge two or more columns together. Either you are performing arithmetic operation or you just want to join the two columns together. That's what it does. Say create a new column in this table based on a custom column. So now, if you look at this particular data now, we know that everybody here is 891 and each of the row is for a particular passenger. Okay. So now, let's say we want to look at the number of passengers in a particular, okay, the number of families rather going in that ship. If you remember, we talked about SIP-SP, which is the siblings and spouse, sorry, accompanying the passenger. Then we talk about the patch, parent and children. If you look at, let me take you back to this data dictionary. Look at it now. Number of siblings, brother or sister, and spouses. Number of parents and children accompanying the passenger. So now we want to look at them as a whole, as a family. So let's say your passenger ID 5. How many family is in there with you? It's inside that ship with you. So what we need to do is to add up the SIP, SP, and the patch together. So look at this particular family. Look at this particular ID now. This is passenger ID 14, which is, his name is Mr. Anders Johan. So look at his SIP SP now. He's going with one SIP SP, which is either a sibling or a spouse, 5 patch, maybe like 3 parents and 2, and 3 children and 2 parents, or 4 children and 1 parent. So that means this is a family of 7. 1 SIP SP, 5 patch, 5 plus 1, 6, plus the passenger himself, making 7. So we need to find a way to add them together so that we can have a new column. Can do that with custom column. So I'm going to click on custom column now. So it opens up for me. So the first thing I want to do, just like a conditional column, is to give it a name. So I can give it family. You can give it a name that you like. Then, so I'm going to say equal. So this is where you just write a small formula. So it's not hard. So these are the available columns here. Right? All the columns that we have inside that data set, you can see them. So now, what we want to do is that we want to do what? I want to add the SIP SP and the patch and the passenger itself so that we can know the number of the families for each of the passenger. Okay, so I'm going to click on SIP SP. Then I'm going to say plus with my keyboard. So this is times. I'm going to click on. So I'm going to click on plus. Then I'm going to select the second one, which is patch. And I'm going to click on plus again. So that plus, the next one is the passenger himself or herself, which is just one person from that particular column. So I can't click on the name of the passenger here because that passenger column is a string or a text. So we cannot perform arithmetic operation with a text. So the only way we are doing this is because they are all integers. So SIP SP is integer, then patch is integer also. So I'm going to say, but we know that it's just one person. So I'm going to say plus 1. You can see now. So it tells that my syntax is correct. No syntax error have been detected. So that means we are good. So I'm going to click on OK. So I have this new column now. You can see them now. 2, 2, 1, 1. So we can confirm to know if our syntax is correct. Look at this now. This is the passenger ID 26. So let me drag it back a little. So now look at the SIP SP now. This is 1 plus 5, which is 6, plus the passenger, which is 1 person. That is 7. So we have 7 here. So that means it's correct. So that's what you use custom column to do. You can also use custom column to add 2 or more text columns together. So the next one is invoke custom column. However, I do not, advise people to use this invoke. It's just the custom column that you want to reuse again, which most times always slow down your query. So there's no point using invoke custom column when you can use custom column and go and use a simple DAX to do your work. So if I click on invoke custom column now, you can see custom one. So you see that function query. So you'll have created the function somewhere, then you now bring it out here, but we have not created anyone and we don't have a need to create one for now. It's just like, okay, you want to reuse a particular column. I want to call it by just from the name, invoke. So that is what you do with your, adding of column features. So before we proceed, is there any question on any of the add column feature, either conditional, duplicate, any of them? Any question from there before we proceed?
No, for me.
I think, are they clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, great. So this, I thank God it's being recorded. Everything that I'm doing now, you guys are going to do it on your own. Then we're going to bring up something because, like I always tell, the best way to learn is by doing. If you think that you are getting it while I'm doing it, it seems easy, but I mean, it's not easy. You just have to find a way to do that. So we have done on entity. So the other thing that we want to clean also again is, now look at this now. So this is not a very good practice in data. So you always want to find a way to split this information. However, not just for splitting sake, but also you will have some data that there are some delimiters that is separating them from the other. In fact, even in your ERP data, there'll be some characters that will be separating a text from a string. And if you do not delimit those characters, you can't perform any analysis because you can't have a text and a string together in a column. In fact, you can have a text, a string, and even date together in a column. So you need to find a way to separate them so that I can do any analysis, right? So now let's say we want to split these guys up. So we want to have first name and the last name. So we select this particular column, then we go to ribbon here, click on transform. You see split column. So if I click on split column, it will show me by the delimiting character what I can use to split all the columns. So, and I've used a lot of these guys, and they are very useful based on the data sets, the properties of the data that you have. So, by delimiter is the most commonly used, but there will be times that you want to delimit by character, by position, the number of the position in the, by even lowercase to uppercase, by uppercase to lowercase. It's crazy. So, but the most used one is by delimiter. So I'm going to set it by delimiter. So what it does is that it automatically detects the delimiting character. So that's what Power BI does. It's powerful. So look at it now. It was able to automatically detect comma, and there are comma in all of them. So before the first name, there's a comma. First name, there's a comma. So you don't need to do anything. If it's automatically detect the delimiting character. But if it doesn't, then you need to enter here, just like the text to column we did in Excel. So you cannot select any of these guys. These are the most common one there, or you can use a custom if these are not the delimiting character. But like I said, if you find a delimiting character that there's a pattern, then you automatically bring it out. Then you can just click on OK. So it makes work easy for you. So I'm going to OK. So you can see now it has separate the last name from the rest. So I can have Broad, Mr. So now I can also delimit this particular column now to get their title. From here, and I can see that title come for then a full stop, blah, blah, blah. So I can now come here again. So you can either use it from the ribbon. You can also right click from the column. So I'm doing a right click now. So to bring out split column here, the same thing I brought from the ribbon. So I'm going to do by delimiter, right? So like I said again, it automatically detects, the delimiting color, which is full stop, and this is a custom. You can see that full stop is not in the main delimiting character, so it's a custom one. So if it can't do that, so you just maybe the delimiting character for your own data might not be any of these guys. So you just click on custom, then type your thing by yourself. But it's already full stop, so there's no need to type anything. So I'm just doing OK. So you can see now. So we now have, so you just double click now. You just double click to rename. So you can now have my title here. So I can have my, let's say this is last name. Oh, sorry. This is last name. Click on enter, then maybe this is our first name or other name or whatever. I think it's other name, but there are serious or other names there. Right, so we're good. So now you can even say from this now, you can even quickly look at the distribution of your data by clicking at the view here, and clicking on column profile. You can see now that these are the, the Mr. is like, okay, the highest group of people in that ship is a Mr., followed by Miss, that is a married female, followed by Mrs., married female, Master, Doctor. You can see that we even have a doctor in the ship, some not even ASF. So I think 7 doctors inside the ship, Reverend, Major, Colonel, Dom. So with this exercise, you can even know the caliber of people inside the ship. So that's what you can quickly do. So another cleaning that we want to do is okay, the embark now. So you can't leave your data set like this in first initials. It doesn't make any sense. So you want to, clean it so that, S is Southampton. So you don't want to be telling people that S means Southampton. No, because your report might be in a place that you are not there. So your report should speak for you that people do not need interpreters to get. So you just come here, just like what you did with the replace value, just right click, then click on replace value. So where you see this S, put Southampton for me there. Like I said, most of the thing you'll be doing, most of the time will be coming from cleaning of data. So I'm going to click on OK. So come here, replace, same thing. C is Cherbourg. OK. Then the last is Q, which is Queenstown. So replace value. Type on OK. So that's how you fix this guy. So you can see that we are done here. So are you getting, do you get what I did now?
Yes.
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 Oh, great. So we are cleaning them one after the other. So for some, look at this cabin now. Although we don't necessarily need it, but I will tell you the reason why. Okay, maybe you might have some data set that we have this kind of problem that you need to solve. So look at this particular column now, which is the cabin column. So what happened here is that the data, the data entry guys, so they did not bother to fill the column, the rows below, because it's the same value that is on top that is below. So they only input a new value, they only input something in the row if there's a new value. So there's high chance that this null value is the same, not even high chance, it's the same thing with this guy, C123. When we are writing stuff in school, or even we are writing a letter or writing essay or something. So if you are writing something, so you want to do this kind of command, that means what is up is the same thing as what is below here. Do you get my analogy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what those guys did. So instead of writing, this same C123 below, they just bother not to have it. I know this because, based on my experience from the team I've led, so they would not write anything except they had a new value. They will not write it. So if it's the same thing, they will not bother to write anything here. However, you cannot do analysis if you have these values. So I'll give you an example. So let's say there's a negative, and this is from my experience. So with the retail business that I've led a team, so a customer will buy a particular product. So this is the name of the customer. Let's say customer A. Then this customer bought like, let's say 5 products. So by convention, you have to write each of the products in a row. So product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, product 5. So this is the store where the customer purchased the products, right? So if there's another customer, so they will continue with the record in this row. Maybe this one now is buying like 7 products now. So each row has a particular product. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You understand? Then this is the, let's say, the store. So all these guys will be empty. It means that the information here, the customer here is the same person. The customer in all this place is the same person. The store is all displayed in the same person here. But you can't do analysis correctly if you did not fill all these guys. You need to get rid of the column. So that's why you need to fill everything here should be below. Everything here should be below. Something like this. So how we get the analogy, that's what we are going to do for this one now. So to solve this problem, you select the particular column. Are you there?
We're here.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, great. So I will now select transform. So from transform, I will select fill. So you're going to fill down. So if I click on this fill down, so everything fill down. So whatever, anything that is up, it gets filled down. See, it gets to a new, value. Then it takes the value, then they fill it down also till it gets to a new value. You can see. So that's how you get rid of the, the null value. So for this, there's a high chance that this is C85, although I'm not sure. You can just come here, replace this with C85. Right. So that's how you fix it. And even if it is up, maybe it could be up, Abby.
I was just saying, could you repeat the fill down again for me?
I should do it again.
Yeah, for the fill down, just the fill down.
Okay, let me clear this there. So like I said now, these are the null values here. So you select the particular column. So once you have reached an agreement, you have ascertained that the values up are what is we have below. So just come to select the column, just come to transform. From transform, you say fill. So your own case, you might be up and might be down. So I think this is most likely, maybe this is even up safe. So let's click on up. So everything goes up. Right? Okay. So that's how you fix this. Well, let's put it in fill up. So everything that is up, that's what is in there. If it is down, you can do it the other way. So that's how you get rid of null values. So let me see what other things we need to clean from this data. What other things do we need to clean? Male, age, ship, SP. So I think these are the major things that we need to do. Now, let's go to the normal transform operations. Okay, so now this group by, I actually want to make everything in Power Query Editor clear for this class. So this group by is used if you have too many data sets, too many rows of data, and you want to group by a particular column. So let's say, for instance, now you have a sales information. Maybe every day you are selling like you have 500 rows of sales. So for a month now, 500 times 30, that is like 1,500 rows of sales, right? So if you don't want to have too many rows of sales, you can actually group your data. So what you cannot do now is you now group by particular column, which is like the date column. So instead of having like 1,500 rows of sales, you are not only going to be having 30 rows of sales. because you are grouping by each day. So day 1, we will have a sum of everything that you sold. Day 2, we have sum of everything that is sold, or even count. Let's say in day 1, now let's say 1st of January, you have 500 rows of sales. So you want to either do a sum operation or count operation. So maybe you sold 500 times as a new column, or you do a sum, or you sold 5,000 worth of products. We don't have a good detail for this to show you very well. That is what this does. So if I click on group by now, so you can see now it brings this dialog box. So here is the operation. So you can actually do a count operation or a sum operation. So if I come down, I can see you can even do average, median, max, blah, blah, blah. Understand? So you are now doing, so you want to do a group by operation by a particular column. However, this is for counts, but we are not grouping by passenger ID. So we just want to group by family. So let me click on my where is the other family self? I hope I name this thing. Let me see if I name this party. Okay, family is there. Okay, so I'll go to my group by. So you can see family, I've selected family. So I will now click on, okay, so I want it to do a count operation. So I want to know the counts of each of the families. So your own could be something different. It could be a sales information. So you want to group this, it's mostly used for sales data rows. So this will not be your sales, right? So you're going to do a count row. Then you now see a date. So no, sorry, this will be your dates. You're going to group by dates. Right, so you will now select sum operation or count operation. Then you now click on OK. Let's see what happens here. So you can see now, so it has grouped the information by the families. So family of 2, the count is 161. Family of 1 is 537. So that's right. So we are grouping this data by the count of each family. So that is just to show you what group by does. It's extremely important. If you have large amount of data set, let's say millions, and you want to group them by, you can even group by, let's say, departments. Okay, the total number of people in this department, blah, blah, blah. So that's what that does. So I'm going to release this. So the next one is use first row as header. So we're going to get back, we're going to come back on this. So transpose is that you are transforming the data by treating rows to columns and columns as rows. You understand? So there will be time that you will need this in a particular function. So I think it's applicable in Excel too. So you can bring in new data sets even from your Power Query editor. Okay. So once you are here, so these are your queries. So once you are here, just come to the home. You see new source. Click on new source. Then you can just have it just like we have from our Power BI report. So I'm going to click on Excel. The new data set is Excel. So I'm going to click on, so I downloaded this particular data called GDP data. So this data set is for, I downloaded from the World Bank. It's the GDP of countries, like 181 countries or so, from 1999 to 2002. So, but let me even show you how the data set look like in Excel. So this is my Excel. This is my Excel. So I'm going to go to GDP data set. So this is how the data set looks like. Can you see my Excel screen, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a country. This is from Afghanistan down to Zimbabwe, right? So these are the country. These are the country here. Then these are the years. While these are the GDP values. So I want to ask, something is wrong with this data in terms of structure. Can someone tell us what is wrong with this data in terms of structure?
The columns is placed in the row, like the transpose.
Yes, yes. We need to transform it. So this is not well structured. So yeah, that's exactly what is the issue. That's what Madam Forget told us now. So the column is supposed to be in the rows, and the values are supposed to be one after the other. So this data is already made to be horizontal. So what we need to do is to shrink this data to be vertical. So it's already wide. We want to shrink it and make it vertical. So that means the implication of what we are doing is that, so we want to have something like this. So we now have these guys now. For each of the countries, the values for these guys now, you cannot come here and say, okay, I didn't copy it. So Jude and Mensa, do you get what Madam Fude told us now?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is how it should be, right? So this is only for Afghanistan alone. They will not have for the next country, which is Albania. So the data is going to be longer now as against being wide, right? So that's what we need to do here. So I'm going to close, because if you don't do that, there's no way you can perform any analysis. And most of the external data that you'll be having, from my experience, they are already like this. They're already pivoted. So they are already pivoted. So you can only see, the numbers, right? You can also see like, okay, this is Afghanistan. This is their GDP in 1999. This is Argentina. This is the GDP in 1999. Like that. So you need to transpose or do some cleaning work with this data. So let's go back to our Power Query editor. So we are going to select the GDP data. So it takes some time based on the size. So this is data. So I'm going to click on this. So if you click on it, it will just show you a preview. It won't enable you to load if you did not click on this guy. Just click on this and cannot click on OK. You don't need to click there. It's a big option of transform or load here because you are already in Power Query editor. So definitely you want to transform it. That's why you ingested the data from the Power Query editor. So it is the data set now. Okay. So now, even automatically, Power BI did not recognize the column. That's why it gives you column 1, column 2, column whatever. Because it is not well structured, it is not well formatted. So what we do now is that we need to do some transformation here. The first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to promote the first row as a column header. So this row 1, we are taking it to this particular, to the column headers. We are taking it to this place. So to do that, you just go to transform. You see use first row as headers. I'm going to click on this, use first row as headers. So you can see now the country have moved up, the 1999 have moved up and up. So now to have the data in the right structure and format, you need to first select the particular column that is okay. Then you now go to transform. You will see on pivots. So click the drop down arrow. See, so first thing is that you want to first click on the country column or the column that is well formatted. You can see that this is country and everything is beneath it or inside that particular column is country information. So you click on it first, then come to the drop down arrow and click on pivot other columns. See what happens now if I click on this guy. So it unpivots everything by the country. So anyway, it sees the country. So you just put in the years and the values. So that's how you unpivot any kind of data you download externally that is already been pivoted. So you unpivot them. Then you cannot come here and say, okay, this is the year. Why this is the GDP values. So this is values. Just come in and say GDP. Just come in and say GDP. So that's how you fix this kind of a problem. If you do not do it like this, there's no way you can do any kind of analysis. Say you want to do time series analysis. So you want to look at GDP of any country from 1999 to 2002. So how the movement is, either it was going, then goes up, come down, goes up at a particular year, or you want to say at the top countries with the highest GDP for a particular year. So you can now do all sorts of stuff. This until when you have your data like this, that is where you can do any kind of thing. How it was before, you can't do any kind of analysis. You can only see the values and just take it out. And you want to do more than that because you're a data analyst. So there are a lot of inherent information that you can see, okay, oh, Afghanistan's GDP moved. In fact, in 1999, they were zero, they were not having any GDP value, maybe because of the war of that time or so. Then as along the line, there was an increase in their production, whatever, so their GDP increased, blah, blah, blah. So the data will tell you a lot of stuff when you start doing the visualization. So that's how you do that. So we didn't do transpose here anyway, but there will be time that you also need to do a transpose. So you can do a reverse row. So reverse row is just that, okay, you want to see, the last, rows, just turning it upside down. Okay, so this, you start from here. If I click on reverse row, it will show me the oldest, the least, the last information and bring them up here. So you can know that, okay, this is 891 rows and all. So you can also do a count rows. There will be time that you have a lot of data and you just want to know the number of rows. So instead of scrolling down, just click on count rows. To count, okay, we have 891 rows, inside this particular data. Now I'm going to click on this. Then we are on transform, right? So now here is the data type. I always say data types are very important. So if I scroll down now, so if I want to do, there's a particular work that we did. Okay, look at this survive died now. So if I click on this view and I want to look at the profile, you can see that there is no information here at all showing me the value of the distribution. Do you know, can anybody tell us why we don't have anything here? He said the distribution cannot be computed for the currently selected column. However, if I select this, it showed me 0 and 1, which is like, well, these are good at that. But if I select this, I didn't get anything. Can anybody tell us why?
I guess maybe the survived died column is not having a data type attached to it. Why the survived has the number or the integer data type attached to it.
Okay, that's fair. Any other person with a contrary opinion?
Like I feel it's because the data type was changed from integer to string. That's what I think.
Yeah. That's a very good one. So now what is happening here is that if you look, towards the left-hand side of each of the column, you will see their data types. These are data types. So this is a data type now. So this information here are data types. So if I click on this now, click it down, I can able to see a whole lot of data. So these are data types in Power BI. Right? So you need to be sure or force a particular column to have a data type. Okay, so the reason why that one did not work, that survive down did not work, is because the Power BI guy did not know what kind of data type should he give this column. Look at it now, it's saying ABC and 1, 2, 3. That means the guy is confused. Look at this now, it's showed that, okay, this is 1, 2, 3. No doubt about that. So if I click on this guy now, there's nothing like ABC or 1, 2, 3, like I have here. There's no data type like this, but it doesn't know what data. Look at this now, embark now. Look at it's ABC, which is a text, right? This is an integer, 1, 2, 3. So I need to let him know that no, I want it to be a text. So I'm going to click on this guy. I'm going to say text. You can see now. So I will now come here. So let me do it again. I'm now coming now. So you can see now it has bring me the distribution and give me some other information here. So data types are extremely important. So this thing can cause you, if you want to do analysis, you just see that it's just bouncing because it doesn't know the data type that is working on. So back to what we are doing, transform. So you can also change your data type from here also. So we have done transpose, we have done group by, we have done use first was column, there transpose, reverse row, count rows. So data type can also change it here. So this is correct. Detect data type, you can, maybe it doesn't get it right, but most of it, most like there's high chance that it's going to get it at the first attempt. So, but if the engine didn't get it, you can also click on here to detect it again. So you can also
Quick one.
rename. You said what?
Sorry. Yeah, I said quick one. The transpose, you didn't show an example of it, did you?
The transpose, yeah, I'm going to do that before we finish
Okay.
here. Yeah. So detect data type is just to detect the kind of data type is still, but it's still going to, there's high chance that the data type it brings up is still going to be the same thing. Then the rename, I mean, if you want to rename any of these guys, you can just rename them, blah, blah, blah. So that's how you go about it. You can just write anything and, oh, we're still going to delete this guy anyway. So, replace value. We have done this, right? So just find a value to replace, then replace it to another one. So, fill, we have done it down, or it can be down, or it can be up also. Then pivot column. Okay, I'm going to bring in a new data so that we can do pivot column. Pivot column, it can be a little bit technical, but it's not hard at all. So let me show you another data set that we can use to do pivot column. So I have this particular, and the truth of the matter is that as a data analyst, my eyes don't see shiggy. You will see all kind of data. You will not be wondering, why are people having data like this? So when I started, I first thought maybe, then later on I realized that some people don't know that you need to use this information to do further analysis. So they just collect the data anyhow. So my boss at Boston that you can't compare yourself with these people. They just want to collect the data and just give you. You cannot do everything now. And that's why I'm a data analyst. So this is a particular data now. And I've seen people have data like this. So we have this particular column now. So this is the ID, which is the only thing that is correct here. So look at the name and the value. So these are the name of the particular ID, which is the first name, last name, age, and occupation. So these are the value. So first name is Tayo, last name is Olajide, age is 38, occupation is stockbroker. So the second person with the second ID, employee ID 2 is the first name, the name, and the value. So you understand how this data is, Abi?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can have data set, you can have data as funny as this. So now if you don't put it in the right format, you can't do any analysis. So this is just for 4 employee, but you can have for many employee, like thousands of them collected like this. So what you need to do is just let's do that. So I'm going to go to our Power Query Editor. So go to Home, New Source. I'm going to click on my Excel workbook. So I'm going to find out data, which is employee data. So I'm going to click it. So I will also load that one too here. So this is the sheets. You can see the same data that I showed you. Just go and click on this and click on OK. So this is the data now. So we're on pivot. We have done so we're on pivot now. So to do this, it's only pivot column function that can help you add this data how you want it to be. So you need to first select the ID, which is the column that is somewhat okay, right? So I'm going to click on pivot column. So another box will open now. So you tell me, use the name column ID, create a new column. So values column. So what I want to pivot on is on values, not on name. So I'll click on the advanced option. Instead of the count all, I'm not going to do a count all. I'm going to do a don't aggregate function. Right. So I'm going to click on my OK. So you can see what happens now. So it's aggregated this by adding these guys here like this. So now this is where I'm going to use a transpose. You can see that this is supposed to be my columns. This is the name, the age, the first name, last name, and the occupation. Right. So all these ones are supposed to be in my row. So what I'm going to do now is to create, to select transpose. After I select this particular column, I'm going to select the transpose now. So you can see now. So what transpose does is to put my columns in row and my rows in column. So that's exactly what this guy did. So you can see now that I have a new column headers which are not correct, but I also have my main column header which are correct now. So I'm not going to say like we did earlier, use first row as headers because my first row are actually my headers. So I'm going to click on use first. So you can also do use headers as first row. So as the case may be, so I'm going to use first row as header. So you can see now, I have my age now, I have my first name, my last name, and my occupation. So I can now come and say, you know that in initial data set, there's an ID there. So I can now come and create my ID by using the, I think we did that before, by using the add column, then I can now say index column from 1. So you can now see now, these are my IDs now. So I can now name this employee ID. Employee ID. So I click on OK. So I can now drag it to wherever I want. So to drag columns is very easy. And I'm not sure you can do this in Excel. No, I don't think so. So you just press and hold, then drag it. So it moves. So if peradventure the columns are many and you want to save yourself the stress of dragging, you can click on the column, then you go to there's something they call move here. Where is that move self? Okay, I think it's on transform. So you move this is so you can move to the left, to the right, to the beginning, to the end. So I say, let's say I want to move to the beginning. So I just click on this guy. So it comes in. That's if you have like hundreds of rows and you don't want to be dragging. So it makes work easy for you. But I think it's okay like that. So we can just drag this employee back to the first column. So is this clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. So that's how you transform this kind of particular, and you can have data like this. So these are like two strange ways you can get data. Is the unpivot column and this one. So you have done goodbye. We have used first row as column header, transpose. We have done it reverse row, count rows, data type, data name, replace value, fill, pivot column, unpivot. We have done move. So this is just convert to list, which is not really important. Just list everything, doesn't make any sense. So every time you might need it anyway. Okay, so on transform, so convert, so splits, we have done splits, so you can also do a lot of splits. So your data can come in different things. So that split makes a lot of sense. So you can also do a format. So maybe you want to do lowercase or uppercase. You want to change all these other names to uppercase. Just click it, everything changes for you. I'm not sure you can do that with Excel. So you can change to, so you also want to do a trim. So trim are very important because there will be time that you have some space before the particular value. Let's look at this day now. There might be space in between this. And if you have space in between your value, there might be some analysis that you might do that will not work, especially if you are doing VLOOKUP. Before I could get this in, like I suffered, it took me like almost 24 hours. I want to do VLOOKUP, but it's not working. So later I realized that, and I think I went to go and check some videos on YouTube. So you need to, there might be some value that there are some characters like space, you might not be able to see it. So to fix that, you just come to this format and click on trim. It will trim everything. In Excel, you need to write the formula equals to trim, then you click the column. So but you just click on this guy, it's clean everything for you, right? Without even writing any formula. So you can also do a clean here also. It clean everything for you. You don't have a problem. Then you can also do add prefix, add suffix. So add prefix, maybe you want to add prefix like Mr. now, or any value. You can put it there. So you might also want to space it anyway, but just click on space. It will do that for you. So that's what format is all about. You can even add suffix and add to everything, even though you have 1 million rows of data, right? So you want to extract is just for characters. So if I click on extract, like length. So I don't know the number of characters here. I click on length to count them for me, 7, 11. There will be time that you might also want to need it. It might be strange to you, but there will be time that you also need this kind of thing. You understand? So parse, this is just for JSON format and it's not necessary here. So another one is the statistics, which is also very important. So you can get statistics here, sum, mean, max. You can want to do a sum here to do all the sum for you, right? So if you want to look at the average age or whatever it is that you want to look here, if you just go to the transform, and it's very important, you can just get average, even median. So that's the average in terms of the numbers, you understand? So you can do a lot of stuff with all these guys. So they transform. So standard is extremely important. I find it very useful. So you can do virtually all mathematical calculation here. Integers, module, percentage of what. So you just click on this scientific, absolutes, power, square, cube, roots, square roots, and I've used them a lot. There will be time that you want to add some particular value to an existing column, especially when they are integers. So you can even do a trigonometry, sine, cosine, tangent. I've not really used this, whatever. You might also be needing them. Right? So that's everything is that there is on transform with Power Query Editor. So for this, also for home is okay. Then new source, recent source, like the ones I've used very recent. So you can also enter data Excel, like in Excel manually, right? So you can just be adding, columns, adding rows and columns. Don't be typing the data, you understand? Let's say you want to create a data on your own. You don't have any data that you can create it, that you can import from. So that's how you're going to do that. And then this is why you're using always closing. Okay, so enter data source settings. So this is if you want to change the source of your data set. So you may not necessarily need this now, but I'm sure with time you're going to get it. So I use this for I remember I told you about my Kobo toolbox, whatever. So if I want to change it with another business, I can always do that there. So properties, advanced editor. So this is refresh if you new data are coming in from your data source. So once you refresh, everything will also upload here. So don't forget I told you that you're only getting a copy of that data from your data source. So it's still connected to it. So advanced editor, manage your duplicate file and all. So yeah, you can also choose file. And the good practice is that you actually want to choose the column that you need. Some unnecessary column, you want to delete them, please delete them. Because everything, any particular operation you did, it will load all the columns and that will slow down your work. So for instance, now for this particular data, I can just choose my column, then I will remove some columns that I don't need. You understand? So I don't need all these index that I created. I don't need this. So I see some of them. You understand? So you just want to remove them. I don't need this guy also. So even the fare, I'm not sure I need it, or the ticket. I don't need this one. So I'm just going to click on OK. So I've removed those columns. Okay, then you can also choose the rows that you want also. Remove rows or choose rows. Maybe you don't need maybe top rows or bottom rows or even duplicate rows. You can remove duplicate rows. Let's click on remove top rows. So you can tell them the number of rows that you want to remove. Let's say like 10 now. I'm going to remove the top 10 rows. So I'm going to click on OK to remove the top 10 rows, as you can see, but we don't need that. So this data is already is still on reverse. Let me reverse it back. So keep rows. So this is if you want to sort A to Z, to sort A to Z, Z to A. You understand? So that's how you do that. Then data type, you can always change your data type here also, replace value and all that. Then another important thing here is the sorting and filter. The filtering here is extremely useful, right? So you can just click on it. You don't need to go to any given here. The filter is just by each of the columns, as you can see it here. So maybe you just want to select only the Mr. or the M's alone. So then unselect these two guys alone, then click on OK. It will filter everything. So you only see Mr. and Mrs. alone there. So that's how you do that, but we don't need that. So you can always remove. So if you make an error, you can always come to these applied steps. Everything you are doing is recording here. So you can always undo it here. So that's how you do it. Then you can also do that text filter here also. Just like that in an Excel, you can do sort of so text filter. equals to, does not equals to, begins with, all those kind of things that we did in our Excel class. It's easily done here, right? So the last one are these guys, and they're extremely important. These guys here, merge and append. So although we don't have the data to do that, although you may not be doing it all the time, but for the purpose of maybe Power BI exams, they will ask it, you cannot escape it, right? So merge queries are if you are adding more rows to your data, right? So you are adding more information. Now, for instance, now, for this particular guy now, so if I click on merge queries now, you see what happens. So let's say you have another, what's it called? Another data set. You know, this is GDP by country from 1999 to 2002. Guys, are you there?
Yes.
So now,
Yes.
let's say you have another data set now, or you want to do a longer analysis, let's say from 1960 to 2002. So it then means that you need to go and get this kind of data from 1960 to 1998, right? Because this is from 1999 to 2002. So you just want to, if you want to do that analysis, so that means you need to download that data and add it below this guy, so that you can now do your analysis from 1960 to 2022, because you already have your 1999 to 2022, and you have downloaded again another data, which is from 1960 to 1998. So you want to join these two data sets together. That is what it means by merge, margin of query. So you'll have downloaded that data, you'll have put it in your queries here. Another one here, that is GDP, 1960 to 1998. They will not select it here. They will not add it together. However, the conditions are that same data, we have a column called country, and we have all the countries, right? And we also have another column called year, which we have the years from 1960 to 1998, and we also have the values. So the rules are that it must have the same column with the initial data that you want to join, so that everything will not join vertically. So you will now have a vertically joined, data. So that's what merge does. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of data, but I'm not sure you will just know that. Me, I don't usually do that kind of thing, but I can't say the same thing about you. The fact that I don't do it, don't mean that you're also going to do it. Maybe I've done it like once. So you just want to merge this data. That's it, is all the data. Then you also have another one data that you also want to join here. But they must have the same column, those two data, so that can be. So these two data will not join together, will not become one. So that is what, yes, that's what merge query is all about. So it's used to merge data vertically, but the conditions are that the columns must be the same thing. So you can see that if I select anyone, it is not going to work, because it doesn't have they don't have the same column. You can see that the OK is not OK. It's not OK. It won't work, because it's telling me that this guy, select columns of the same type. You can see select column of the same type, number, text to continue, but we don't have that kind of data, so it cannot work. So you are merging queries vertically, or you are merging rows together. However, append is like the opposite of merge. So for append, you are merging data horizontally. That is for append. While for merge, you are doing it vertically. So the example for append is that, okay, let's say you have this particular data set now, then you now want to have another data set, and you want to do some analysis about each of the countries, let's say unemployment. So you have unemployment values here. Then you have, let's say, interest rates here. Then let's say population. So you want to show some kind of relationship between maybe their GDP and their unemployment or their population or their interest rate. So you also need to match this data, which is this particular one, together with this data to make them one. So they become one. These two data to become one. So that's when you use append. This also have these rules. The rules are that, the first one, the rules are that the column has to be the same. This one, the rows has to be the same. So if you're having unemployment data, new one, so if you're having this unemployment for Afghanistan and for 1999 to be this, So if you're having their population, so you should have population of Afghanistan in 2019 to be this. You understand? So that's how you do append. So you are appending horizontally on the rows and you are merging vertically on the column. That's what that one is all about. So that's basically everything that you'll be doing in Power Query Editor. The other ones I've not really touched them. I have some other applications that I used to do them, and I think they are kind of the text analytics, vision, and Azure machine learning. Right? I've not really checked those ones very well. So, but these are the major things that you'll be doing in Power Query Editor. So you have checked everything in Home, in Transform, in Add Column, in View. Then the tools are just, if you want to do query performance, I've never used this before because I've never been informed of that. Just want to run your performance of your query. You want to see this particular query that is taking much of your time to do, then you want to do it. Then the hub is just, you want to get more resources about Power BI. I mean, you can get virtually everything inside, this guy here. There's a learning guide, documentation, even training video and all that. So once you are done with the cleaning of your data, you now just go to your home and say close and apply. You want to do a close and apply. If you don't do that, all these things will not apply. All the settings you've done will not apply. So just do a close and apply. So if you load everything, then you apply it. It takes some time based on whatever cleaning work that you did inside the Power Query Editor. So Power Query Editor is an extremely important, machine for you to clean and transform your data. So you can see now that we now have more columns here. So you can, from here now, you can now start building your data set, your analysis. So now I can easily come here and select my passenger ID. Then I can click my survived died column. So now what is happening here is that, so sorry, I'm still clicking on the survived something. Passenger ID, then the survived died, this is it. So you can see now that we can now know our died and our survived, unlike before that's only calculating our survived. So our survived is 342, while our died is 549. So we can now start building our visual here based on whatever it is that we want to do. So let me remove this guy. So also you also want to do some little formatting about your data. So after this cleaning that we have done, we can easily say that, okay, this is what and what we want to now be reading on. So I can even say that, okay, I want to look at the survived and died based on their gender. So I can now come here and click on my gender this thing. So I'll click on gender. Where's that gender set? People have not deleted. Okay, sex is sex. So look at it now. So by my died now, so apparently more male died. Let me put on focus. So more male died than the female. So you just want to check it on the legend. This is your legend here. Is sex. So this particular is for female, while this is for male. So the one that survived, more female survive than male. I don't know why. Maybe the male are trying to, I think, okay, anybody that watch the video will see that, okay, the male are trying to rescue the female and the children so that they do not perish inside the ship. I hope I'm correct, guys. Or
Yeah.
why do we have a lot of male perishing inside that ship that the female surviving? Oh, wow.
You're right.
May God help the male folk. So
Amen.
that's how we're going to be. You cannot start building your analysis here. So another thing that you also want to do before our time expires, let me even look at the time that we have here. So once you clean the data sets, then when you transform them, you cannot do any kind of analysis that you want to do here. Okay, so we have less than 2 minutes. We have less than 2 minutes here. You cannot do any kind of analysis. Then you cannot select any kind of visual that you want to select. So you can do a copy and paste. So I have this again. So I cannot come here and select. So this is visual. It's called a cluster column. I can choose a stacked column. So look at it now. So now tell me, which do you think is better between this guy and this guy?
I'll go for the first one.
This one?
Yeah.
The first one.
The first one, okay, but it depends.
Yeah.
So this is diagram. So I think I prefer this anyway. So that is how you clean data, and that's why you start building your analysis. From this analysis, you'll not be getting a lot of insight. So that's where we're going to stop for the class. To wait, let's see. This is 6:02. This is 6:02. This is our third this thing. So yeah, that's how we're going to. So I think we started by 4 p.m. Right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So I think we have used our 2 hours. So this is what we're going to stop.
So one